Now, Kirk Cousins, who recently moved on down to Atlanta, and last season in an injury-shortened season was had 311 attempts, 216 completions, 2,331 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, had 25 yards on 14 rushing attempts. Thoughts on Kirk Cousins?
I would not be surprised to see him finish as QB 14 or 15 when it's all said and done with. I think he's going to make Kyle Pitts better. We've seen the great success that he had with TJ Hawkinson there in Minnesota before he left, and then what he's been able to do with Justin Jefferson, the short time he was working with Jordan Addison. So he knows how to use his wide receivers. So I think that leads well for Drake London, for Kyle Pitts. They'll have a really good running game, saying the right things about how they want to use Bijan. We'll get to him when we start talking about running backs and everything else. So, I don't want to take a step away, but as long as he's progressing nicely from the injury and is able to, I guess, be fully cleared, I think he'll have a great year. And don't forget, he's still pissed that they drafted a quarterback. But realistically, we're talking about one season right now. And for this one season, I think he is going to help London and Pitts both make astronomical fantasy players for the 2024 season. And I do think he'll be just outside of QB1 territory. So right now, he's going underdrafted. There's value built in there.
I'm a little gun shy of the injury, right? So I'm hoping that is something that gets resolved. I'm also a little gun shy that they decided to draft a quarterback down there in Atlanta. He was on a crazy, crazy trajectory to have 440 completions. That would have been a career high. To have basically 4,600 yards would have been just shy of a career high that he had. He had 4,900 yards his second to last season in Washington. He was on pace for 36 touchdowns, which was that's an insane number for him. He had 35 touchdowns in 2020 with Minnesota, and the interceptions were down too. It would have been another career year for him for playing all of the games. I think 19 is about right. Just because I don't know how much time he's going to get with all of these receivers coming off of that injury.
This is an offense that I think we'll see really kind of step up and show out. They've got a new offensive coordinator in town, brand new scheme, and a scheme that would not surprise me that it looks very similar to the Sean McVay type of scheme there, right? Another guy kind of coming from that branch and coming from that coaching tree there. So, and we've seen that those systems are able to be very friendly for quarterbacks and be able to really rock and roll there. So I can understand the hesitancy around the injury on that one, but I do think that this is a deal when we look up at the end of the season, Kirk Cousins going to do what Kirk Cousins kind of always does, where it's a guy that is drafted in the teens, and we look up at the end of the season and go, oh my, how did he get right here at back end of QB1, top end of QB2, and that's what I think we're going to get is another Kirk Cousins-esque season out of Kirk Cousins, where he's going to go out and Kirk Cousins is going to Kirk Cousins this thing.